Now that we've covered the security options available for protecting wireless networks, what do you think the most secure option would be? In an ideal world, we'd all be protecting our wireless networks using 802.1x with EAP TLS. It offers arguably the best security available, assuming proper and secure handling of the PKI aspects of it. But this option also requires a ton of added complexity and overhead. This is because it requires the use of a radius server and an additional authentication backend at a minimum. If EAP TLS is implemented, then all the public key infrastructure components will also be necessary. This adds even more complexity and management overhead. Not only do you have to securely deploy PKI on the backend for certificate management, but a system must be in place to sign the client certificates. You also have to distribute them to each client that would be authenticating to the network. This is usually more overhead than many companies are willing to take on because of the security versus convenience trade-off involved. If 802.1x is too complicated for a company, the next best alternative would be WPA2 with AES CCMP mode. But to protect against brute force or rainbow table attacks, we should take some steps to raise the computational bar. A long and complex passphrase that wouldn't be found in a dictionary would increase the amount of time and resources an attacker would need to break the passphrase. Changing the SSID to something uncommon and unique would also make rainbow tables attack less likely. It would require an attacker to do the computations themselves, increasing the time and resources required to pull off an attack. When using a long and complex Wi-Fi password, you might be tempted to use WPS to join clients to the network. But we saw earlier that this might not be a good idea from a security perspective. In practice, you won't see WPS enabled in an enterprise environment because it's a consumer-oriented technology. If your company values security over convenience, you should make sure that WPS isn't enabled on your APs. Make sure this feature is disabled on your AP's management console. You might want to also verify the feature is actually disabled using a tool like Wash, which scans and enumerates APs that have WPS enabled. This independent verification is recommended, since some router manufacturers don't allow you to disable it. In some cases, disabling the feature through the management console doesn't actually disable the feature. Ready for another quiz? Don't worry, it's just a practice one to help make sure you're getting all this wireless info wired into your brain.